notice things that are suspicious.
Welcome to the media circus in a week where thousands take to the streets to protest cuts to a beloved national institution. And ABC budget cuts claim another victim.
The bloody sight, too graphic to show. A pig's head and body parts left at the entrance of the Masjid Ibrahim.
And competing this week, please welcome News Limited stooge Joe Hildebrand, former Nine stooge, now ABC and SBS stooge Ellen Fanning, and making up the Three Stooges, comedian Luke McGregor. And they're up against Cal Wilson, Julian Morrow, and from the Australian and Sky News, it's Chris Kenny. Or as we like to call him, the plaintiff in the case.
Now, that's unfair, Craig. I know some of us have only met through lawyers in the past, but Chaz and I have actually caught up a few times over the last year, haven't we, Chaz?
Yes. Where's this going?
You left this behind last time, mate.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Chris, but I'm not sure we can afford to acknowledge that joke at the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's let that go.
Yeah, can we have the money back too? Now, of course, you guys are Team Australia for this game, as always. But who is going to be up against Team Australia?
The ABC instinctively takes everyone's side but Australia's.
That makes you guys Team ABC. OK, let's get into the news game.
Round one.
OK, first up for both teams, what is Nick Xenophon doing here?
Is he showing us the way to his house?
Are they Jackie Lambie's brain patterns?
Too many. No, there's too much there. Well, maybe it's the new ABC logo with the cutback. Is it like it's something to do with the Senate, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, this was him actually. He was actually having a joke. This was Nick Xenophon's description of how the Senate now works. That Jackie Lambie is an independent. I think we also have Tony Abbott's description of how the Senate works. But don't worry about it because Nick Xenophon has everything under control.
What do you hope to get out of this briefing with Erica Betts this morning?
Do you know something about a briefing that I don't know about?
It's going to be just fine.
I think Jackie Lambie is independent is a dangerous proposition. I fear she may leave her new party and defect to an entirely different planet at some point.
I think the beauty of being stupid is that when you're stupid... Hear me out.
We've got an expert on stupid.
I've studied it extensively. When you're stupid, you don't know you're stupid. So you can have Jackie Lambie can say, well, I'll just block absolutely everything. I'll block the budget. The country can come to a grinding halt. And she'll go, I don't care.
I don't know. I don't buy that. I don't buy that. I don't buy that she's wacky Jackie. I mean, sure, she's changed the colour of the scarf from the yellow, and that shows a certain sense to some sort of Tasmanian colour. But I kind of like the fact that when Jackie Lambie tells you something, she believes it. She's not towing the party line. When you interview Malcolm Turnbull about climate change and the Coalition's climate change policy, you know he doesn't believe it. When you interview Tanya Plibersek about Labor's Pacific solution, you know she doesn't believe it.
But you do know that she understands it.
One of Jackie Lambie's main justifications for leaving PUP was that her new boss wanted her to. Can anyone tell me who Jackie Lambie's new boss is?
Satan.
Aren't there 1,500 Tasmanians somewhere that voted for her who now have the fate of the nation in their hands?
You're very close. It's not just 1,500 Tasmanians. Let's see.
Tasmanians are my boss.
All of Tasmania is her boss.
Yes. That's this guy, huh?
You're Tasmanian? Yeah.
There's going to be some changes.
Hey, forgive my ignorance on this, but how many Tasmanians are there?
1,500.
50.
If McGregor's in charge, she's starting to make more sense now.
I mean, last time I met, because me and the other 1,500 Teddies, we all meet together, and we just like, let's do it as a joke, and she's really taken off, so...
Well, at least the transition won't be too hard. If you look at her new boss and her old one, they're both about the same size and having the same name. By the way, that Xenophon photo that we showed you earlier was taken by photographer Mike Bowers. And I'm glad that we got that one instead of whatever photo it was he was taking here.
Will count.
There he is in the background. Jackie Lambie may have stormed out of Clive Palmer's party, but in Australian politics, Clive is still the undisputed king of the stormouts. The most recent was on Lateline, but he walks out of interviews so much that it's his main form of exercise. But what are the triggers that make Clive flip out and terminate an interview? Let's find out as we play...
Clive, to air!
All right, teams, let's walk through just a few of Clive Palmer's many interview walkouts. Team Australia, you're up first. Let's start with the latest one. Your question is, what document caused Clive Palmer to react like this?
I'm not interested in that document.
Well, our viewers may well be interested because
I'm not interested in it.
You're a public figure, Mr. Palmer. The audience has a right to know what's happening in legal cases against you.
It's never a quick exit, is it?
I just hope one day he forgets his bag or something and has to come back.
What document was scaring Clive there?
Was it a costed policy?
Was it a health check?
So the document is actually a document that outlines the agreement to use a joint bank account with his Chinese business partners.
Yes.
So like any joint bank account, both parties have a key card and both parties have a PIN number. Yep. And so that was all going really well until Clive withdrew $12 million.
We've all had that happen to us, you know.
Absolutely.
You can see how it would happen. And then he said, well, there was an agreement to use the bank account, and so he wrote down what the agreement was, and he predated it to before they had the falling out over the $12 million. So he signed
I said one thing there. Allegedly.
Allegations, yeah. You are right. Well done, Ellen Fanning. Well done, Ellen.
I'm interested. Ellen,
how it would happen.
Have you ever had that happen? Have you ever had someone do that, just like pull out the microphone and walk off while you were trying to interview them?
Well, actually, I've got to say Clive does it very well because I've had a bit of that. And generally people don't remove the earpiece and the microphone. And on radio it's terrific because they're walking away and they're going to strangle themselves with the earphones.
Chris, have you ever had anyone stay all the way to the end of an interview?
Very good.
So have you had walkouts?
Indeed. A lot of people, when they walk off with microphones or earpieces connected, get pulled back. But I think in Clive's case, he may drag the set with him.
Yeah. Why is Sky News down the road? OK, next up, Team ABC. Our next Palmer meltdown is from a radio interview. It's from just before the federal election. What's got Clive's goat here?
Well, look, I'm not going to be quizzed by you on rubbish. OK, do you want to ask me some other questions or not?
No, I'm confused because there are the papers...
Bye-bye.
What was the rubbish he was being quizzed on there?
Didn't know when midnight was? No.
Let's have a look.
What about the candidate for this federal seat of Lyne? Who is the candidate?
Well, he lives in Lyne and he's been there for a long time and he's done a really good job.
What's his name again, I'm sorry?
Well, look, I'm not going to be quizzed by you on rubbish.
But don't you reckon he could have got out of that really easily by going, I always call him Liney?
It makes sense to me, though, because surely, looking at who's in the Senate at the moment, if Clive Palmer had actually met and knew all the candidates who were running for his party, he wouldn't confidently be able to support them and endorse people voting for them. So I think it was a very clever strategy of him not to know who his candidate was.
Chris, you were a media advisor for a while. Do you run questions past... Do you actually kind of drill them on these things, like, you know, this is the person, all these kind of names? Or do they have, like, a sheet they have to learn, like a homework?
Oh, yeah, they have a sheet. They have a sheet. We'll have the local member, local issues, all of that. And believe it or not, I've seen politicians, I won't use any names just now, but it will have the price of milk, who won the footy last week, you know, who's touring the country, all that sort of pop culture stuff that some politicians don't take in. It's quite embarrassing that they have these things there as gotcha answers.
Yeah, there seems to be a distinct reluctance to just say in an interview, I don't know.
Yeah.
But do you reckon the people would actually cop it? If you just said, look, you know what, I hate sport, I don't reckon that's going to increase your primary vote at the next election.
But it's true that politicians in sport, it's a very real and present danger. And there was a great story about Bob Carr when he was New South Wales Premier, actually got dragged to a rugby league game, kicking and screaming, going, what the hell am I going to this for? And he was so terrified that he actually brought along War and Peace, or another version has it was Goethe in the original German. And he sat down reading his book while they played football in front of him, and then the whistle blew and he slapped the shoulder and goes, well, that wasn't so bad. And a poor advisor had to go up to him and whisper in his ear, I'm sorry, Premier, it's only half time.
It's all about plausibility, isn't it, Ellen? I mean, and this is what Joe says with Carr. He wasn't into sports, so don't pretend, and people respect that.
But he didn't. He didn't. And he sort of, his proposition was, I'm not like you. And you're not going to run the state, and I'm not going to watch the football. We got ourselves a deal, and everyone went, OK, that's a deal.
Yeah. OK, Team ABC. Who is Clive talking about here and why?
Listen to this guy. He's a bit of a joker, isn't he?
Is it before he realised Jackie Lambie was a woman? I just thought it was long for Jack. I didn't realise.
Jackie!
She's friends with Liney.
It was election night coverage. It was Channel 7. Who did they have on their
panel?
Was it Mark Riley?
Let's have a look.
Taking him to court. You said you were taking him to court. You actually said you'd
already... to court. I'm not worried about
lawyers.
Rupert Murdoch.
It's Rupert Murdoch he's actually talking about. Rupert Murdoch.
I got sidetracked by the fact he looked like he was in his pyjamas.
He clearly wasn't expecting to win. It's like, it was election night, I'll have a quiet one, I'll go to bed early. Oh, fuck, we run the country now? Oh, my God.
Mark Riley was the person who asked the question, though, and sometimes when Mark Riley asks you a tough question, storming off in a huff is the better option.
Tell me, what's the context, and if it's out of context, what is the context? You're not saying anything, Tony.
But how easy is it to come up with Clive Palmer-style theories? Let's find out as Cal and Luke play...
Spin to win.
OK, Cal and Luke, imagine you are Clive Palmer's spin doctors, you're his press secretaries, OK? You've got to answer the questions in a style that would make Clive proud, OK? Luke, you can start off. OK, Clive Palmer says Jackie Lambie was a plant. What kind of plant does he mean?
Well, a good one. He's I can see where he walks out a lot.
You're a very convincing farmer, I gotta say. Cal, can I ask you a question?
Yep, sure.
Why does your leader, Clive Palmer, have only a 7% attendance record for votes in Parliament?
That's actually a bit of a misrepresentation. He's there 100% of the time, but only 7% of his brain is working.
Can I just ask you, Luke, why has Clive Palmer scared away all the guests from his resort with fake dinosaurs? What's his plan there?
Fake dinosaurs? No, you don't know the half of it. Let's just say when China invades, old mate Clive's got a plan B.
If I could just interject here, I think it's very reasonable that Mr. Palmer wants to surround himself with dinosaurs because everyone likes to be around their family.
While you're there, Cal, why is Clive trying to build a second Titanic, and why does he think the first one sank?
He believes that Jackie Lambie disguised Tasmania as an iceberg and towed it out into the Atlantic and crashed it into the Titanic. And he believes that a second Titanic... He's calling it the second Titanic because he knows that people will laugh at him if he admits that it's an ark. It's just going to be filled... It's going to be filled with llamas. It's going to be the Palmer Llama Ark.
Also, if the dinosaurs don't work as defenders, it's just sort of... there's no... if we can't train them, which we will...
Mr. Palmer also wants to make it clear that on the new Titanic, the doorways will be bigger, which means the doors will be bigger, which means that Leo will make it onto the door this time.
That was incredibly convincing.
Craig, while that was indeed very convincing, the actual reason Clive Palmer gave for building the Titanic 2 was even more ridiculous than what Cal said.
No, it's a way to provide some sort of contribution to world peace, really.
Congratulations. I want to thank... I'm going to give this round to Team ABC. Well done, Cal Wilson. Here you go.
Well done, Cal.
Look at that.
News School. Lesson 23. Don't interrupt news reports with random crosses to unsuspecting people. Channel 9, you go first.
Rescuers are also seeking donations to cover some of her medical costs.
Perfect. There were no random crosses to unsuspecting reporters. ABC, your turn.
There's obviously a lot of people having a fantastic long weekend, so...
But that's not very good for the Brisbane economy, is it?
Good point.
Fail! ABC, I'll give you one more chance to redeem yourself. No more random crosses.
You know, and some people suggest it's the most democratic exclusive membership in Australia.
But he also thinks it's unacceptable for people to wait so long. The club's proposing to increase its membership by 50,000 over the next 5 years.
Fail minus! That was hopeless, ABC. Sky News, show them what they should have done.
To say about this just a short time ago.
She, of course, was very relieved to be given the information. She
No, cross to a person.
Done.
No, not that person. I'll go back to the control room.
We apologise. We're having some technical issues there with our reporter.
Fail, fail, fail.
This week we also saw cuts at the ABC and the SBS of $308 million. And for some reason, people attacked Tony Abbott, despite the fact that...
Everyone knew that there was going to be an efficiency dividend.
Everyone knew there was going to be an efficiency dividend, and he's right. I mean, if you listen back to his interview the night before the election...
No cuts to education, no cuts to health, no change to pensions, no change to the GST, and...
Efficiency dividends.
...to the ABC or SBS.
He was crystal clear about that. And throughout the entire campaign, it was made clear.
I will give the directions needed to commence Operation...
Efficiency dividends.
Well, look, it's not just the ABC. Since the election, Abbott has also applied a real efficiency dividend on his own poll numbers, so he's been consistent about it at least. Chris, you're a media advisor. You guys have been in the media. Why do politicians bother to try and justify something that everyone thinks is a lie? Why do they try and come up with efficiency dividend excuses or change of circumstances or context or all this kind of stuff?
Yeah. Well, look, I think you've got to find a way to move on. You know, I don't go with the lie thing. I didn't use it against Julia Gillard. I don't use it against Abbott. I say it's a broken promise. But at the least you've got to say, I shouldn't have said that and move on. Otherwise, people are just antagonised by you digging in. And I'm certain his advisors are sitting around trying to work out how to do it. But, gee, he hasn't shifted an inch.
Like, it just seems crazy. It's like the politicians don't realise that there's a video of them or something. It's like, lucky there's nothing on tape. Well, damn it. I can't understand how someone in that position so high up can say something and then just do not that thing. Like, it doesn't...
he's so naive.
Yeah, I know. It's on tape. It's like I don't know, you...
It's like politics.
Yeah, you're in a I don't know, you're a bank robber and the judge is showing a video of you robbing the bank and then your lawyer steps up and you go, I got this. That's not me. Let's go home, guys.
I sometimes wonder, though, if politicians lie almost because we expect them to. Like, just think about what we're saying. We all say... Wait. we all say that, you know, politicians lie and we're sick of it. What would happen if a politician actually told the truth? Everyone would go, well, that's bullshit.
Fact check. The answer to your question about what would happen if politicians said exactly what they were thinking is Jackie Lambie.
Yes. And she's doing well.
That's right. Well, everyone thinks she's crazy because she's just going around telling the truth all the time.
I reckon the big problem here politically is that Julia Gillard got hammered, but it was a major promise. Carbon tax was a major political issue for many years, and she paid a really heavy price for that. Now, while the ABC promise is more of a niche issue...
Steady on, steady on.
More of a niche issue, the point is that Tony Abbott had made such a thing about we're going to do things differently. We're going to do what we say. We're not going to break promises like Gillard did. And so he's being held to that same standard, and I think it's hurting him really badly at the moment.
Look, Abbott might not be polling so well at the moment, but he is, quite seriously, doing very well on Facebook at the moment. In fact, just this week alone, he got 65,000 extra likes. Now, sure, most of those likes were from 18 to 34-year-old men from New Delhi.
Jeez, the Liberals are going to romp in that seat, aren't they?
Is this because of Modi?
Yeah, it's because he had a photo with Modi. And have a look at this photo. That photo got 710,000 likes.
And his advisors love this because he's actually stitched his lips closed there as well. There are a lot of people, though, that are angry about the cuts to the ABC, especially Bill Shorten.
Because we, the Australian people, if we have to choose between the ABC and this rotten government, we will choose the ABC.
That may be a case, Bill, but the problem with democracy is the Australian people need to choose between the rotten government and you. Not as good a choice.
He also lost some of the power of thought when he bent down to read quickly. He was like, no,
we will choose.
Also this week, those opposed to the government's cuts to the ABC found themselves an unlikely champion in Education Minister Christopher Pyne. Pyne took to the change.org website with a petition to save all ABC production in Adelaide. And Pyne knows the power of change.org petitions because there have been at least 10 of them addressed to him that he's completely ignored. Which is why we started this change.org petition demanding that Christopher Pyne must stop ignoring change.org petitions. This is real, go vote for it. Let's see what he does. Look, do you think, though, is change.org the best place for a minister to be going and expressing their opinions?
Look, I'm a former Adelaide ABC staffer. I know what he's talking about. If you want to get serious about ABC cuts, I think there's a lot of people like me who would say, sure, contract the organisation a bit, but
Don't cut anything. Isn't that the Australians' argument?
Well, my view is stick to television, broadcasting and radio and look after the regions. Stop with all this digital stuff and expanding the ABC.
All this digital, all this podcasting, all this colour television that they put here at the ABC and the crystal set and
that'd be fine. We'd be good with that.
Stop competing with the bits where my employer's losing money.
It's just NIMBYism, isn't it? It's just, yes, cut the ABC, but not in my backyard.
And NIMBYism's easy for us inner city people because we don't have backyards. It's fine.
Look, now, Pyne's petition was ignored by ABC management, but how much cut through did it get? Coming up, Joe, and let's find out as we play...
Pining for attention.
All right, let's see. Here's how it works. Okay. I'm going to show you 4 change.org petitions from the past week, including Pyne's Save the ABC Adelaide one. And you have to tell me which one got the most signatures and rank them most to least, OK?
Are any of them the ones calling for my resignation? There's quite a few of those floating around as well.
It's too obvious they got many signatures. We're going to do other ones. OK. All right, let's see. So the ABC one. Next up, we've got no petting zoo in Parramatta Westfield. You literally can't rehire Redfoo. You literally can't.
Literally?
I can't say literally either. Can
literally,
you do it for me?
I can't.
Yeah.
Literally, I can't. It's catchy. You say what you like about it.
I never thought I would hate it more than when Redfoo sings it. All right, and finally, end the Ebola crisis, distribute homeopathy now. OK, which do you think got the most signatures on change.org?
I think Redfoo almost certainly did.
Redfoo? OK, let's move Redfoo into number 1.
That's the first time that's happened to Redfoo.
Yeah. Where do you want to go next?
I think must not close Adelaide production.
Is going to be the last. OK, so let's move that into position 4.
Because I would think they would have all thought that Christopher Pyne was taking the piss. The thing is with hippies is they have a lot of time on their hands. And so I'll put homeopathy in 2 and petting zoo and Parramatta in 3.
All right, let's switch those over.
Just before we do, can I make an admission? I actually voted for or signed the Ebola petition for homeopathy because I actually think if we could get all the people who believe in homeopathy and send them to Ebola-ridden areas. Just maybe something good will come out of this crisis. So...
Let's find out how you went. OK. Coming in last was poor Christopher Pyne with just under 3,000 signatures. But while he mightn't have had the most reach, he still inspired many responses in solidarity from fellow activists, such as this one. I'm signing because Christopher Pyne is a bellend. All right, so let's see what got the second least. The petition against the petting zoo in Westfield got almost 5,000 signatures. Maybe if ABC personalities were cuter and fluffier, then Pyne's petition may have got more traction. Coming in with the second most signatures was the plea to the World Health Organization to use homeopathy to cure Ebola. They had 5,292 signatures. Sadly, that petition hasn't worked because it's homeopathic.
And all of those votes were only like a 10,000th of a vote.
That's right. Which means that coming at the top with over 22,000 signatures was the petition calling on Channel 7 not to rehire Red Food. Well done. Which means you got them all right. Yes,
Fact check on that number, Craig, a bit of an update. 22,887 signatures against Red Food now. 22,808 signatures against Red Food. 22,889
Keep going, Jenny.
22,890 signatures. I'll get back to you on that one, OK?
Bill Shorten's Life Hacks. Bill Shorten knows if you want to be popular, you've got to tell people you're just like them.
Well, I think I'm like most Australians. I think I'm like many Australians. I think I'm like most Australians.
And then make up something you do.
I'm like most Australians. We don't tend to talk about our faith publicly. I believe I'm like most Australians who've watched what's been happening in the Senate. I think like most Australians, I've noticed there's a lot of hot spots at the moment.
Bill Shorten's just like me, a non-faith displaying Senate viewer who's noticed there are a lot of hot spots at the moment.
But if you're anything like Bill, you haven't achieved anything. So tell people what you haven't done.
I'm like most Australians. I've never worked in a school. I've never been a weak man myself. I've never had a banana, no.
Well, I've never done those things either. This guy's great.
Now, you try.
So tell me about yourself.
Well, I think I'm like most Australians. I've never liked Bill Shorten. I think everything he says is stupid.
Really?
Now your opposition leading.
Round 3.
Now, you have to hand it to our nation's politicians. They have really mastered Twitter. Just look at this tweet from Warren Truss. Officially opened Melbourne's new air traffic control tower. At 75 metres, it's the second tallest in the country, which got amazingly 0 retweets. Julie Bishop, though, has been slightly more successful on Twitter, with papers even running stories this week about her use of emoticons in tweets. OK, first up, Team Australia. See if you can guess the story about Julie Bishop from these emoticons.
Did she buy Call of Duty Advanced Warfare?
Let's keep going.
Somebody's sick.
What is it? A tank has squashed a frog.
All right, let's get the last one. I think you're on the right track.
It's that the UN should do something about Ebola because it's a global security issue.
Yeah, so UN should do something about Ebola because it's a global security issue. We're so close. You're right. It's about the UN and Ebola. Remember, it's Julie Bishop.
She's embarrassed. She's got...
It's embarrassed, yes.
Yeah.
Julie Bishop read a statement expressing the UN's concern about travel restrictions placed on Ebola countries, despite Australia being one of the countries with such travel restrictions. All right, Team ABC, what Julie Bishop story do these emoticons represent? Let's get the first one.
Oh, she's into porn.
Well, I guess the cuts have already been made.
It's a bishop, though, isn't it?
It's a bishop. Well done. So, let's get the next one.
Oh, she loves Despicable Me.
So you're right. Bishop
likes the glasses. Is it? She likes Kevin Rudd, doesn't she?
Yeah. She likes Kevin Rudd. Well done. That is right.
Oh, wow.
Which, can I just say, interesting fact, Julie Bishop is the only person who likes Kevin Rudd.
Yeah. It's also how we know that Julie Bishop is not in the Labor Party.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. The story was that Julie Bishop is friends with Kevin Rudd and that they still text each other about foreign affairs issues, which means Rudd could still screw up a third government. All right, Team Australia, what news story involving Julie Bishop do these emoticons represent?
It's a Tweety bird who's found God.
Let's keep going.
Is that a backflip? Bull?
Arrow bull.
And is that an undo arrow? Is that what that is?
Turn bull.
Turn bull.
Turn bull.
OK, let's keep going. What does that stand for?
For the win.
For the win, yeah, see, young people know.
Turnbull. Oh, I'm late,
Julie
but I got
Bishop.
it.
Let's go to the last one, and you can put it all together.
Oh, pole. It's a pole. It's a pole. It's doing it like a pole.
It is
Julie
a pole.
Bishop has
That's an
attacked Malcolm Turnbull with a stick.
Yes, this is an emoticon pole dancer. They're very hard to find, I got to tell you.
This was
What's the story?
This is a poll that came out that showed that Julie Bishop had shot up and was now, I think she was just behind Malcolm Turnbull as preferred Liberal leader, but had jumped ahead of Joe Hockey.
That is right. Well done. In that round, the winner is Team ABC. You get this emoticon of Warren Truss to use in your tweets. There you go.
Thank you very much. Excellent.
From Sky News ad breaks to your home, it's the very best of Bronwyn Bishop's Parliament Diary.
Welcome to Parliament Diary.
These highlights of Bishop's 8:55 a.m. parliamentary schedule announcement on Sky News are a must for every collector. From the highs...
Today it will see the introduction of 5 new bills.
Yes! To the day when everything changed.
On Mondays, the House sits at 10 a.m. However, this morning it will sit at 9 a.m.
And when the threat of terrorism led Bronwyn to wear a ninja star for additional security. Plus, the hilarious bloopers.
Uh-oh, Bronwyn. Looks like you've got too much of a good thing.
The very best of Bronwyn Bishop's Parliament Diary. As Bronwyn always says, it's...
Good viewing.
Now, this has been a depressing week for us at the ABC, and it's not just us. There's been a lot of bad and depressing news right across the board. But hopefully, every cloud has a silver lining. So, for our final game tonight, we'll try to find the good in the bad with...
On the Upside.
OK, and on the upside, I'm going to read out some bad news stories, and you guys have to come up with a positive spin on this story, OK? Make us feel better about the news. All right. Police have made more than 50 arrests on the first night of schoolies. That's bad.
On the upside, it was just one guy 50 times.
On the upside, the party at the police station was great.
I don't know if you guys have actually met any teenagers, but that is an upside.
But on the upside, there were only 49 pregnancies.
I had the same one, so...
All right, in bad news, a Victorian Liberal candidate has been sacked for links to an Indian porn star.
On the upside, he got to hang with an Indian porn star.
On the upside, he now has 65,000 more likes on Facebook.
2 American men were jailed for 40 years for a crime they didn't commit.
On the upside, they are the only ones who managed to avoid Game of Thrones spoilers.
On the upside, they're American.
On the upside, they missed the 1980s.
All right, China had a pile-up involving 74 cars.
On the upside, they all found a park.
Now you've hopped it up too much. On the upside, it was a stunt for a film when they got it in one take.
All right, ABC and SBS are faced with about $300 million of budget cuts.
On the upside, we got paid up front. On the upside, Fairfax newspapers did need a story for pages 1 through 11.
And in other media news, Rupert Murdoch might be forced to sell off loss-making operations such as the Australian newspaper because of some Saudi prince.
On the upside, he is still really handsome and cool.
But on the upside, Rupert Murdoch may be forced to sell loss-making publications like The Australian because of some Saudi prince.
I actually don't know anything about this story.
On the upside, I may have to learn to think for myself.
Thank you very much. You've made me feel so much better about all of this news. Now, your reward for both teams is to watch the work of a genuine expert, a man who can take the tragic death of Robin Williams and turn it around in a second.
Yeah, very sad news for all the family and friends and people that knew Robin. Rest in peace. We'll never forget a very, very funny man and a very genuine man. But let's have a snack. That'll make us feel better. Here's Vicky.
Thank you for that, Jonathan Coleman. But the winner of this show is Team Australia!
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.
Thank you for watching. See you next week in the Media Circus. Woo!